I'm a bird, mother. I'm a bird.
Death of Angry Birds. And yeah, this is actually pretty real. I remember playing Angry Birds many moons ago. Loved it. And I tried to get back into Angry Birds like a year ago. And it was shit. It was genuinely really bad. The slow, painful, greedy death of Angry Birds.
Back in 2011, Angry Birds was everywhere. They had multiple different games, toys, and movies, generating hundreds.
Okay, to be fair, the movies suck though. I keep on trying to watch the movie from the beginning to the end, and I keep on falling asleep 30 minutes into it. It's just confusion followed by me dead asleep.
Hundreds of millions of dollars. But by 2019, they were firing masses of staff, and since then things have only gotten worse. Perhaps it's just karma for stealing the initial idea. Angry Birds wasn't an original concept. In April 2009, a game was released named Crush the Castle, which required players to fire a trebuchet into wooden structure hiding medieval people. Well, 8 months later, in December 2009, game developer Rovio made an app named Angry Birds, which, while clearly being a rip-off, was better in every—
Wait, I didn't know this. That's actually kind of crazy.
way. It had cooler, cleaner animated graphics, and different stages, each with different levels. You got points for every enemy killed, and points for every bird you didn't use, giving players the chance to compete for high scores. Throw in 5 different birds with 5 different abilities, as well as a cool, catchy soundtrack, and it's easy to see that Angry Birds was better. They'd developed 51 games prior to Angry Birds, none of which saw even the smallest bit of success. Therefore, when Angry Birds took only 2 months to become the #1 paid app in 60 countries, they understandably took the chance to milk it. They'd make loads of different—
I mean, yes, if your product is successful, you'd be an idiot not to capitalize on it, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know that they actually stole the initial idea.
varieties like Angry Birds Seasons, Angry Birds Space, and Angry Birds Star Wars, helping it become the #1 paid app in Apple's App Store with 6 to 7 million paid downloads. By the end of Angry Birds' first year, they'd made $10 million US, but players still demanded more. We have so many fans who have asked for the plush toys, so these are going to be available in a couple of weeks, and we're really trying to build Angry Birds into this entertainment franchise. It took only 4 months before that announced 60,000 Angry Birds soft toys have been sold, as the game itself became the best-selling paid app of all time. Within Angry Birds itself, they'd implement microtransactions like Mighty Eagle, which allowed players to pay to clear entire levels. With celebs like Justin Bieber even advocating for it, Angry Birds made $100 million in 2011 and went from 28 employees in the beginning of the year to 224 employees by the end of 2011.
And these days, gacha games are making billions.
Yep.
5 months later, they set a new world record. First mobile game series to reach 1 billion downloads.
There it is. 1 billion downloads. But still, gacha games make more money. I'm just saying.
No, they do.
But no, in all seriousness, that is actually pretty crazy. Honestly, there's a lot of different concepts that started out with a different idea. Just like Overwatch, they didn't invent the hero shooter. They just did it better. Yeah,
pretty much.
They'd double their revenue again by the end of 2012, at which point they started to face a serious problem. The game was getting stale. They'd made multiple different Angry Birds versions, but hadn't changed the concept in over 3 years. As a result, in the following year, their profits more than halved, with Angry Birds falling to 59th in the App Store, forcing the franchise to try.
They should have just probably expanded into like a different genre.
They could have. They already made the movie. It could definitely launch, even if the movie did bad, right? It could have launched it into a bigger reach, like a bigger net.
No, I'm saying a different genre of a game.
A new format. They'd release Angry Birds Go at the end of 2013, and while this was somewhat of a Mario Kart ripoff, people absolutely loved it.
So I mean, it's fun. It is good fun. It looks good.
I didn't even know this is a thing.
It plays well.
Professional reviewers gave it 7.7, while people on Reddit called it their favorite Angry Birds game, and perfection at its finest.
Okay, but like, do you really want to trust game journals and Reddit? I don't know.
Rovio therefore continued to experiment, releasing an RPG game named Angry Birds Epic, which again
Never heard
received
of it.
incredible reviews, reading, "The latest Angry Birds title is a welcome addition to a franchise, which hasn't seen much change since its inception back in 2009. Similarly, users said it might be the best RPG title I've ever played."
And honestly, a pretty solid time. I think the approach they went with here really worked and paid off.
The only problem was, these games didn't sell merch like the original Slingshot format. Therefore, merchandise sales plummeted, while total 2014 revenue dropped, and profits fell 73% to 10 million euros. As a result, media outlets reported, Rovio lays off 110 people as Angry Birds hype fades, representing 4.
So basically, what I'm hearing is they should have invested their money into an actual marketing team, PR team, and market analyst, which they, by the looks of it, they didn't do.
14% of the company's workforce. They try to fix their decline with yet another experiment, Angry Birds Pop, which was pretty unsuccessful. In a Reddit thread asking out of all the Angry Birds games, which one do you think is the worst, Pop was mentioned many times over. Therefore, they'd go back to basics and put out Angry Birds 2, the official sequel, although many—
Yeah, that's the one I played. I hated it.
Really?
Yes.
he called it a
I think we still have it on the Samsung tablet. I played it when I went to Nashville.
Oh.
It was really boring.
Okay.
downgrade from the original. The sequel was filled to the brim with microtransactions, clearly annoying the fanbase who wrote, "This is a very greedy game that keeps sucking money out of you. If you play well, the game becomes harder and harder until it's impossible, and then you either have to replay each level 10 times, or buy gems. The game is just trying to throw you off balance and get under your skin so that you pay more." The official IGN review said the game took significant steps backward for the massively popular series. Angry Birds 2 is missing key parts of what made previous games so universally compelling to gamers both hardcore and casual, young and old. Still, due to its intense—
Okay, but like technically speaking, what is the category in the genre of a game do you think that might have maybe revived Angry Birds? The lesson here is merchandising. I don't think it was merchandising. I think there was nothing new to merchandise. Remember when Angry Birds was good? I remember. Okay, yeah, I have no ideas what could have revived Angry Boys. Okay.
Jersey took her. It took her. Let the jersey flow through you.
Maybe something like Cuphead. Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, that would make sense too.
Yeah, something like Cuphead. Like an arcade-ish game.
Hence monetization, Angry Birds 2 became their highest earning game.
Actually, a well-made card game would work too.
No.
No? Okay.
No, I don't think so, no.
However, that very same year, they'd announced losses of almost 15 million and would fire a further third of their workforce, this time being over 200 people. This seemed to imply that Angry Birds was dead.
Angry Birds should have made a collab with Uno.
Wait, no, yes, that would be hard. That would go hard.
And Monopoly.
Also, yeah, that too. And
Yahtzee.
a vampire survival, like,
Yes, a survival Angry Birds game would go hard, actually.
it would go hard.
Until they'd make an unexpected comeback. Turns out they'd spent the previous 3 years privately developing the Angry Birds movie. At a cost of 73 million, they'd made a risky bet, but with a star-studded cast and a fun little story, the Angry Birds movie did surprisingly well. It made over 350 million from its 70 million budget and put Angry Birds back into the public spotlight.
Okay.
People began replaying their previously released games, while Angry Angry Birds theme parks popped up in different countries. Media outlets reported Rovio Games had its best year ever in 2016. However, the gaming releases that Angry Birds was known for was still declining in quality. In his video, I played and ranked every Angry Birds game so you don't have to. Jake Miller talks about Angry Birds Action.
Angry Birds Action was the start of using the new anthropomorphic designs from the movies in their games, which I think most fans agree was the real beginning of the end for the series.
Which happened to be the first game after the movie. Similarly, in the Reddit thread asking,
I mean, when you're like studying design and marketing, shapes and colors is one of the first things studied, literally the first month. So once again, it comes down to their marketing team and their research team absolutely miserably failing. That's a yikes.
About the worst Angry Birds game, one user implied it was most of them after the movie's release. Said games included Angry Birds Fight, aka a Candy Crush ripoff, as well as Angry Birds Match, which was described as extremely bland. However, thankfully for Rovio, their older titles
Wait, they did Angry Birds Monopoly and Uno. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. Whoa.
was still extremely popular, with Angry Birds 2's revenue growing 47% in 2018, despite it being over 3 years old. This gave them the budget to make a second movie. However, their $65 million bet didn't pay off so well this time. Forbes wrote Angry Birds 2 is worse than the original in nearly every way, whilst Rotten Tomatoes critics added, a distressingly ineffective sequel that grows less and less interesting and more tiresome as it unfolds. Still, the movie made a profit of $82 million, right as the company was making some weird changes. Despite their older games being low maintenance, Rovio decided to completely stop updating them. Then, without explanation, some of the older beloved titles, including the original Angry Birds, were deleted from the App Store.
When people began when I was trying to download Angry Birds for the trip, I was trying to find Angry Birds and I couldn't find it, and I thought I was tripping, or maybe it's region locked, but I didn't bother like actually looking into it because I'm like, whatever, who cares? I'll just download Fallout Shelter. I'm good.
Talk about what they'd done, people made compilations stating Angry Birds was dead. There were comments like, remember when Rovio actually cared? Whilst hashtag BringBack2012 began to trend on Twitter. Things got so bad that Rovio apologized, stating they only did it as maintaining the highest quality of updates and live operations isn't possible with our older games. In response to the backlash, that announced they planned on redeveloping Angry Birds Classic, which was re-released on the App Store in 2022, but at a price of $1.99 with no in-game purchases. They'd changed Classic's name to Red's First Flight, making it harder to find in the App Store, thus prompting players to buy the newer, more profitable games. This successfully fooled some people who struggled to find it.
Basically, TLDR money
on the App Store. However, others knew exactly what Angry Birds was doing. They got rid of the old ones so that you would have no other choice than to play the modern Candy Crush-esque games. They despised the games that made the company and so lost its spirit. Rovio basically confirmed this, openly stating they changed the name due to the game's impact on our wider games portfolio. They further requested that fans continue to bring that passion to our live Angry Birds Slingshot games, such as Angry Birds 2, however, players weren't too happy. We hope those fans can continue to bring that passion to our other games which have been designed to be more psychologically manipulative and stuffed with more microtransactions. Fixed it for you. The drama was so severe, it seemingly halted any future games, as Angry Birds Classic is still the most recent title, released way back in 2022. In 2023, Rovio was sold to Sega, although this has done little to
Interesting. I wonder if they're working on something. So Angry Birds officially belongs to Sega. Damn.
fix their reputation. One recent tweet expressed, "I very much still love Angry Birds. That said, the current state of it is dog shit. My hope for the franchise is at an all-time low right now. I'll just continue to enjoy what I love about it, but it's sad to see what it's become. Despite everything, Angry Birds isn't finished, as they just announced they're making a third movie, although
Oh
with
my
the rest
God,
of the
give it a
franchise in
rest.
But this is under Sega now.
This is how I feel. This is how I feel.